These are the best horror movies of 2023 so far. Up first, why is this movie on? Bro, this movie is horrible. Sorry about that. I have no idea how this movie even got on this list. You already know I had to start out with a big hitter. You have Scream 6. The second best Scream in my personal opinion, besides the first one. It takes every key element of every Scream movie and adds it into a way different surrounding that we're used to. Taking Ghostface and putting him in a massive city. We're used to him just running around Woodsboro and weird places like that. Now he's in New York City. And let's just say this movie is badass. Up next you have Cobweb, which is a very underrated horror movie in my opinion. No one talked about it. No one even knew this movie was coming out until I talked about it. And when I watched this movie on release day, man was I scared. The movie's based around a young boy who can't sleep. He constantly hears rustling and weird things around his house since his family just moved in. His parents continue to tell him, no, there's nothing wrong with this house, there's nothing wrong with this house, until one night he wakes up and his mom is standing in his doorway with the lights off. He then gets attacked by what more or less looks like a sleep paralysis demon in the form of his mother. And let's just say this movie gets extremely weird. Fantastic film and super underrated. Then I have another very underrated horror movie in my opinion, The Last Voyage of the Demeter. I absolutely loved this movie. It was a little slow at parts, but the whole theme around Dracula I love, and the fact that they left it open for another movie, which I'm extremely excited for. You then have Sick, a Peacock horror movie which I actually loved. It takes place during a lockdown where there's a killer outside, they're in the middle of the woods, you know, the normal slasher film. But they did it differently, they did it really well. Clearly is something hard nowadays for horror movies. You then have Evil Dead Rise, which a lot of people didn't like this film. I honestly thought it was terrifying. I could be the only one who thinks that the scene where she's crawling out of the bathtub and literally is on the ceiling is straight nightmare fuel, but that could just be me. This movie was good, not great, but it was still better than a lot of these other films. And then finally you have Infinity Pool, which was weird. Don't get me wrong, this is an extremely weird movie, but it's still really good in its own right. Then you have the best horror movie of this year so far, in my opinion, Talk to Me. I absolutely loved this film. I loved everything about it. And the fact that it's made by YouTubers, I love even more. Genuinely, the story, the plot, everything about this movie is awesome. And the fact that we've already gotten announced that we're getting a prequel and a sequel for this film just get me super excited. Comment down below if you guys want me to do the worst horror movies of 2023, because trust me, the video will be 10 times longer and it'll probably be a lot more funny because there were a lot of horror movies that came out this year that were ass. And follow for more.